everyone. Thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is expected to warn the Israeli cabinet that the United Nations cannot be evicted from Jerusalem. Last week, Minister of Culture and Sports Miri Regev demanded that the United Nations be evicted from Jerusalem after UNESCO passed a resolution denying that Israel has any historical or legal ties to the city. UNESCO, or the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, has a regional office at the UN compound in Jerusalem's Armon HaNatziv neighborhood. The compound was first leased to the UN by Israel in 1967, following the Six-Day War, to monitor the ceasefire between the Jewish state and its Arab neighbors. A day after UNESCO passed the anti-Israel resolution, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that Israel would slash another $1 million from its annual UN payments, bringing the total cuts to $9 million since December 2016. The United States State Department is being blasted at the moment as angry Americans born in Jerusalem demand they be allowed to have their place of birth recognized as being part of Israel. Dozens of United States lawmakers have even joined the fight, signing a letter to Secretary of State Rex Tillerson to give in to the demands. The United States State Department has long held a policy of resistance against allowing American births to be recognized as Israeli if born in Jerusalem, as they believe it could hurt diplomatic relations between Israelis and Palestinians. The signatories of the letter, however, argue that the recognition, quote, would cause no perceptible geopolitical impact, but would be meaningful to a number of our fellow citizens. It would honor the individual's personal dignity and cherished personal identification with Israel as his place of birth, end quote. The letter then goes on to cite several other cases in which the State Department gives in to similar requests with ease, as in designating citizens Taiwanese despite the Chinese hold on Taiwan. A law forcing the State Department to accept Jerusalem births as Israeli was passed in 2003 by Congress, but was never enforced by either President Bush nor Obama. It was later overturned by the Supreme Court in 2015. Greg Roman, the director of the Middle East Forum, said, quote, "The previous decision to ignore the law passed by Congress was illogical and illegitimate." Ismail Haniyeh has just been elected to be the new head of Hamas, the internationally recognized terror organization that rules the Gaza Strip. Haniyeh will replace Khaled Mashal, who has just finished his 2 terms in office, the maximum amount of terms allowed under Hamas's charter, despite being exiled to Qatar. Mashal first came into power in 2004 after the Israeli assassinations of the group's founders Sheikh Ahmed Yassin and Abdelaziz al-Rantisi. Ismail Haniyeh is a former Palestinian prime minister who was dismissed by Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas in 2007, following Hamas's violent coup in the Gaza Strip. Hamas spokesman Fazi Barhoum said of the election that, quote, "This proves that despite the hard and complicated situation, the movement could finish its elections in all of its phases and elect Ismail Haniyeh. This proves that the movement is democratic, renewed, and based on consultation," end quote. Newly elected Hamas head Haniyeh is also believed to be one of the primary authors of a new Hamas document that reasserts the terrorist organization's goal of overthrowing Israel, but also accepts a Palestinian state based on the 1967 borderlines. Israel has dismissed the new Hamas document as an attempt to fool the world. Islamic State militants left a gruesome scene behind this weekend as they left the decapitated bodies of a man and his 2 sons lying in the streets of Rafah. Rafah is a small town on the border of Israel and Gaza, and the mother of the family was allegedly killed a week prior by Islamic State terrorists during a raid of their home in Yamit, west of Rafah. The family was suspected of collaboration, and the 3 men were kidnapped. ISIS has been increasing the rate of kidnappings and raids in their recent insurgency in the Sinai Peninsula, and the brutality is meant to serve as a message to would-be collaborators or informants. ISIS in the Sinai has also been known to attack the Christian minority in the region, having attacked 3 churches since December. In a message sent to the West, a Sinai branch ISIS leader said that, quote, "Targeting the churches is part of the war on infidels, and that any institution or post where crusader nationals of Western countries gather are legitimate targets." France's presidential frontrunner Emmanuel Macron has said that if elected, he will not unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. During a French television interview, Macron said that he supports a 2-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but that unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state would lead to instability and would harm French-Israeli relations. Macron is currently leading in the polls by 24% over far-right candidate Marine Le Pen. France's chief rabbi, along with the national French Muslim and Christian leaders, have all endorsed Macron over Le Pen, in part because of her ultra-nationalist views. Le Pen's party, the National Front, has advocated for laws prohibiting ritual animal slaughter in accordance with Jewish and Islamic dietary laws, as well as the wearing of religious attire in public space. The party also has a bit of a troubling history regarding Holocaust denial. Just 3 days ago, Marine Le Pen claimed that France bore no responsibility for the 1942 roundup by French police in Nazi-occupied France of Jews at the Vel d'Hiv Paris cycling track. Marine's father and party founder, Jean-Marie Le Pen, was kicked out of the party in 2011 over numerous comments seen as diminishing the Holocaust or even denying it. In another upset just last week, National Party Front Chairman Jean-François Jalk was forced to resign after numerous recorded remarks surfaced of him claiming that it was impossible for the Nazis to have used Zyklon B gas to murder millions of European Jews. That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.